Your customers are already online. WHKY Digital puts your business in front of them on websites, streaming TV, social media, and more.
I'm Rob Eastwood here on the WHKY News. Let's take a look back now at some of the top crime stories we had for you during the week of August 17th through the 21st. 3 suspects, dozens of felony allegations, and bonds totaling more than $600,000. 2 separate Alexander County cases have kept deputies and court officials busy. Here's WHKY's David Cedrone.
Thank you, Rob. Well, a Taylorsville man is being held under bonds totaling nearly $600,000 in connection with a multi-county telephone wire theft investigation. 53-year-old David Flake Stafford faces numerous charges from Alexander and Davidson counties. They include felony larceny, obtaining property by false pretense, injuring utility wires, damaging property to obtain non-ferrous metal, and possession of stolen goods. Authorities say the investigation involved a bucket truck allegedly used to cut down telephone lines. Stafford's total bond is listed at $590,000. In a separate case, 2 Taylorsville women are facing felony charges. 36-year-old Carrie Marie Adkins and 58-year-old Angela Adkins Keever arrested Saturday on charges of felony breaking and entering and felony larceny after breaking and entering. Adkins was jailed under a $20,000 bond. Keever's bond was set at $15,000. I'm David Cedrone for WHKY News.
Thanks, David. The Burke County Sheriff's Office is asking for help in finding 29-year-old Michael Joel Davis, who is wanted on multiple outstanding warrants. Davis is wanted for failure to appear on charges including 2 felony counts of trafficking opium or heroin, felony possession with intent to manufacture, sell, or deliver, Schedule II controlled substance, and misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia. His last known address is listed as homeless in Morganton, with another address listed on Corpening Bridge Road. If you have any information, contact the Burke County Sheriff's Office. A Taylorsville man with what authorities describe as a lengthy criminal history is back in jail. 34-year-old James Edward Cook of Mountain View Drive was served with 11 warrants for failure to appear on Friday. According to our news partner WACB, court records show Cook has more than 30 current charges pending. Authorities say he also has a long history of criminal activity and convictions. Cook is being held in the Alexander County Detention Center under $73,000 bond. Additional details about the case were not immediately available. With details on a pair of arrests reported over the weekend, one in a case involving drug charges, the other in an investigation that resulted in a habitual larceny allegation. Here's Ariana Mack.
A 66-year-old Hudson man was arrested Sunday on felony drug charges. Kyle Fry Reed of Hudson was charged by the Conover Police Department with possession of fentanyl and felony possession of cocaine. According to arrest records, Reed's bond was set at $2,000. He was scheduled to appear in Catawba County District Court on Monday. And in a separate case, a 46-year-old Granite Falls woman was arrested Friday on a habitual larceny charge. Tori Ann Kimsey of Victorian Lane was taken into custody by the Hickory Police Department. The case is scheduled for Catawba County District Court on Monday. Reporting for WHKY News, I'm Ariana Mack.
A major development in the case involving the January break-in to the home of a late NASCAR driver. An arrest has been made following a lengthy investigation. Ariana Mack was at the news conference today for the announcement, and she filed this report.
That's correct, Rob. Reporting from Iredell County, where a suspect has been charged in connection to a burglary at the home of late NASCAR driver Greg Biffle. As WHKY previously reported, the home was broken into and robbed in January of this year. Sheriff Darren Campbell had this to say during today's press conference.
From that point, our detectives began building the case piece by piece. Over the next several months, they conducted numerous interviews, followed by leads, obtained over multiple search warrants, over 24 search warrants in this specific case, analyzed cell phone records, cellular tower information, and other electronic devices. The significant break came after detectives had been working this case on July 29th when Cobb County Police Department in Georgia contacted our office in regarding Terrell Williams, who had been arrested in a connection of a separate residential burglary, which was a highly publicized homicide case.
44-year-old Terrell Williams of Stone Mountain, Georgia, is charged with 3 felony counts apiece of second-degree burglary and larceny of a firearm, 2 counts of felony obtaining property by false pretense, and single felony counts of safe cracking, money laundering, possession of burglary tools, and larceny after breaking and entering.
Another point in other items that was recovered was tied to some break-ins in western North Carolina, which actually was an officer's duty firearm. After 3 years, we have recovered that firearm. We are in touch with that police department. So this person's method of the way he operated from what we're seeing is basically he used headlines, social media posts, different things to find out when people were or were not at home. And he executed his plan in that capacity, which is the exact same thing happened with this high-level homicide in Georgia. At the same time, our detectives continued analyzing cellular information obtained through previous search warrants and compared that information with electronic evidence that was recovered in Georgia. That analysis places Williams at the Biffle residence at the time of the burglary and in the immediate area of the days leading up to it, basically doing surveillance.
Williams is being held in Cobb County without bond. Extradition has been requested by the Iredell County Sheriff's Office. Reporting for WHKY News, I'm Ariana Mack.
Thanks, Ariana. Stay with WHKY for continued updates on this case. A Burke County man on the county's most wanted list for felony fleeing is now facing additional drug charges. The Burke County Sheriff's Office says 53-year-old William Ernest Smith Jr. of Hildebrand was arrested Saturday after deputies stopped a white Chevrolet Silverado near Coleridge Court in Connolly Springs. Deputies say Smith had an active warrant and threw an object from the vehicle during the stop. A Caldwell County Sheriff's Office K-9 alerted to narcotics, and deputies say the discarded object contained a controlled substance. Smith faces charges including fentanyl trafficking, methamphetamine possession, and multiple counts of possession with intent to manufacture, sell, or deliver controlled substance. He was also served with the outstanding fleeing to elude warrant. His bond was set at $3,025,000 and a court date is set for September 10th. A man added to the Burke County Sheriff's Office most wanted list was arrested just hours later after deputies received a tip that he had been spotted at a Morganton restaurant. 60-year-old Darren Keith Colvin was added to the most wanted list last Friday. Later that day, deputies were dispatched to the Bojangles on Berkmont Road after receiving a report that Colvin was at the restaurant. Deputies found Colvin at that location and took him into custody without incident. He was wanted on failure to appear charges stemming from felony trafficking fentanyl by possession and felony possession with intent to manufacture, sell, or deliver methamphetamine. He was taken to the Burke County Magistrate's Office and served with the failure to appear charges. Colvin, who is listed as homeless, was ordered held without bond, and he is scheduled to appear in court September 14th. The Burke County Sheriff's Office thanked the public for helping law enforcement locate individuals on the most wanted list. A Caldwell County man is facing 6 charges in a case involving an alleged break-in, and a woman is accused of stealing a dog. WHKY's David Cedrone reports.
Thank you, Rob. 30-year-old Tevin Deshaun Ferguson was arrested Sunday by Caldwell County Sheriff's officers. Ferguson was charged with breaking and entering with intent to terrorize or injure, larceny, assault on a female, interfering with emergency communication, false imprisonment, and probation violation. He was taken to custody shortly before 12:30 p.m., jailed under a $20,000 secure bond. No court date has been listed. And in a separate case, a woman is accused of stealing something many people consider part of their family, a dog. 33-year-old Alexandria Beth Snyder, listed as homeless, arrested Tuesday by Hickory police. Snyder is being charged with larceny of a dog, misdemeanor crime of domestic violence, and misdemeanor assault inflicting serious injury. She was taken to the Catawba County Detention Facility where no bond amount was listed. Snyder was scheduled to appear Tuesday in Newton District Court. I'm David Cedrone for WHKY News.
Thanks, David. Guns and drugs were reportedly found and charges were lodged against a pair of suspects. Ariana Mack has the details on this case.
That's correct, Rob. 2 people face multiple felony and misdemeanor charges following a traffic stop in Statesville. Tadarin Lashad Mosley, 26, and Deja Marie Joyner, 29, both of Statesville, were arrested Thursday, August 13th, after an Iredell County Sheriff's Office lieutenant stopped a vehicle on Buffalo Shoals Road. Sheriff Darren Campbell says Lieutenant N. Hodges reportedly saw illegal contraband in plain view while speaking with the occupants. Additional deputies were called to assist with the investigation. During a search of the vehicle, deputies reportedly found 2 concealed handguns, cocaine, heroin, hydrocodone pills, alprazolam pills, and marijuana. Mosley was charged with felony possession of cocaine, felony maintaining a vehicle for the use of narcotics, felony possession of a concealed handgun, misdemeanor possession of a Schedule 4 controlled substance, misdemeanor possession of marijuana, and misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia. Mosley was ordered to be held without bond because authorities say he was already free on bond in connection with the previous charge. Joyner was charged with felony possession of a controlled substance, felony maintaining a vehicle for the use of narcotics, misdemeanor possession of marijuana, misdemeanor possession of a Schedule 2 controlled substance, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of a concealed handgun. Joyner was jailed under a $50,000 secured bond. Reporting for WHKY, I'm Ariana Mack.
A federal prison term has been imposed in a drug trafficking case that has a connection to a local business. Ariana Mack explains.
A Hickory auto repair business was at the center of a drug trafficking investigation that has resulted in a 20-year federal prison sentence. 48-year-old Ronald Corrales Arrieta, who operated the business, was sentenced for distributing methamphetamine and fentanyl. The press release did not disclose what automobile shop he was working for. He was also sentenced to 5 years of supervised release. According to federal prosecutors, investigators first became aware of the operation in April 2023 when Hickory police found a missing man dead inside Corrales Arrieta's business. Hundreds of grams of fentanyl were found around the man's body. Investigators later used a confidential informant to make several drug purchases from the organization. Prosecutors say Corrales Arrieta personally made many of the sales. Corrales was arrested in October 2024. A search of the Hickory business turned up 2 firearms, an AR-15 rifle, and a 9mm handgun. Corrales Arrieta remains in federal custody and will be transferred to the Federal Bureau of Prisons. The case was investigated by Homeland Security and the Catawba County Sheriff's Office and prosecuted by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Charlotte. Reporting for WHKY, I'm Ariana Mack.
Thanks, Ariana. A local man has been charged in connection to a sting operation targeting alleged sex offenders. According to a news release from the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, the Lee County Sheriff's Office, in coordination with the North Carolina Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, led a multi-agency sex offender sting operation. In July of this year, the investigation targeted individuals exploiting or attempting to exploit children in Lee and surrounding counties. This operation, conducted with the Invictus Task Force and multiple partner agencies, resulted in the arrest of 14 individuals on 68 charges related to sexual exploitation of minors and the solicitation of children by computer for sex acts. On July 20th, 28-year-old Jaden Michael Anderson of 16th Street Northeast in Hickory was arrested in Rockingham County and charged with solicitation of a minor by computer, felony second-degree sexual exploitation of a minor, indecent liberties with a minor, and disseminating harmful material to a minor. Anderson was placed in the Rockingham County Detention Center following his arrest. 2 men are being held on bonds totaling more than $400,000 in separate Burke County arrests. WHKY's David Cedrone has more.
Thank you, Rob. Well, the 2 cases involve separate investigations by local authorities. 29-year-old Michael Joel Davis of Morganton surrendered Friday, less than a day after he was added to the Burke County Sheriff's Most Wanted list. Davis faces multiple drug charges in Burke and Buncombe counties, including 2 counts of felony trafficking opium or heroin. He was jailed under a combined $254,000 secure bond. His next court appearance comes up on September 14th. And in a separate case, 43-year-old Stacy Allen Clinton, listed as homeless, taken into custody yesterday by Burke County Sheriff's Office. Clinton is charged with felony fleeing to elude arrest with a motor vehicle, driving with a revoked license, reckless driving, and speeding. He's being held in the Catawba County Detention Facility under a $150,000 bond. I'm David Cedrone for WHKY News.
A local man who is charged with killing his business partner in June will not face the death penalty. 85-year-old Willard Gary Black of Hickory was indicted on a charge of first-degree murder in connection to the death of 59-year-old Robert Roger Argaius of Taylorsville. Investigators say Argaius was shot multiple times inside the Old Hickory Tannery on the afternoon of June 17th of this year. In addition to being a partner in the business, Argaius was a member of the Alexander County Board of Education. A Rule 24 hearing was held this week in Catawba County Superior Court, and Judge Karen Edie Williams ruled that the matter will proceed as non-capital first-degree murder. If convicted, the strictest sentence for Black is life in prison without the possibility of parole. According to Newton Police, Argaius had just met with company employees before the shooting. Authorities have previously said he was unarmed, found no evidence of any altercation before the gunfire, and described the shooting as an ambush. Police say Black admitted to shooting Argaius, and the suspected firearm was recovered at the scene. The shooting came the same day a judge ordered Black to comply with a civil agreement requiring him to turn the business over to Argaius. Court documents state Argaius filed a lawsuit in 2024 seeking to recover about $300,000 he had loaned Black to help fund business operations. Black remains in the Catawba County Detention Facility under $2,500,000 bond. The Catawba County man received a prison sentence in a drug trafficking case. 38-year-old Joshua Lynn Whitmire of Catawba was given an active prison sentence of 6 to 8 years following his conviction for trafficking methamphetamine by possession and transportation. The sentence was imposed by Superior Court Judge Karen Edie Williams of Mecklenburg County after Whitmire entered a guilty plea during Catawba County Superior Court Tuesday. Whitmire will also be required to pay a $50,000 fine. He will serve the sentence. At the end of the sentence, he is currently serving. That term, which he received following a conviction for being an habitual felon, ends in April of 2028. On February 2nd of 2023, a traffic stop was conducted to address illegally tinted windows on a vehicle driven by the defendant. Whitmire admitted to having a burned marijuana cigarette in the vehicle during the stop, but a subsequent search resulted in the seizure of a trafficking amount of meth along with some drug paraphernalia and marijuana. Up next, Ariana Mack has details on a pair of cases, including one in which a man is charged with endangering a child by allegedly shooting a gun in their vicinity.
That's correct, Rob. The Burke County Sheriff's Office reports the arrest of a man who allegedly fired a gun while holding his 2-year-old child. 35-year-old Ronald Clarence Andrews Jr. of Morganton was charged earlier this week. According to our news partner, WACB, arrest documents indicate that Andrews created and allowed a substantial risk of physical injury to a child by other than accidental means. The suspect is charged with child abuse. The warrant stipulates Andrews was drinking alcohol and in a verbal argument with another person when he fired a weapon into the ground. As of this report, Andrews remained in the Burke County Jail under a $10,000 secured bond. And in a separate case, a man is facing felony charges following an arrest earlier this week. According to arrest records, 32-year-old Darren Tyler McSwain of Elmwood Court in Vale was arrested by Catawba County Sheriff's officers on Wednesday. McSwain is charged in Burke County with felony larceny and felony possession of stolen property or goods. His bond was set at $6,000. McSwain is scheduled to appear in Burke County District Court on Monday, August 24th. Reporting for WHKY, I'm Ariana Mack.
Thanks, Ariana. A Caldwell County man faces a felony child abuse charge, and an Iredell County traffic stop leads deputies to more than half a pound of marijuana. WHKY's David Cedrone reports.
Thank you, Rob. A 40-year-old man is being held under a $75,000 bond in Caldwell County following allegations a child suffered serious physical injury. Giovanni Gomez Lopez was booked shortly after 10 Wednesday night. He is charged with felony child abuse resulting in serious injury, along with misdemeanor assault and battery. Authorities have not identified the child, disclosed Lopez's relationship to the child, or described the injuries. His hometown and next court date were not listed. And meanwhile, an Indian Trailhead man faces 4 drug charges after an Iredell County traffic stop. 56-year-old Anthony Reed Hanna Jr. was stopped on Tuesday afternoon while driving a white Ram pickup on Rolling Hill Road in Mooresville. Sheriff Darren Campbell says deputies found approximately 236 grams or more than a half a pound of marijuana, along with drug paraphernalia, allegedly consistent with narcotic sales. Hanna is charged with 2 felony marijuana offenses, felony maintaining a vehicle for the sale and use of drugs, and misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia. He's being held at the Iredell County Detention Center under a $50,000 secure bond. I'm David Cedrone for WHKY News.
A Newland man is facing multiple charges after investigators say he drove into members of the Milligan University cycling team in Tennessee, killing 2 students and seriously injuring several others. 69-year-old John Alexander Benfield of Avery County is charged with 2 counts of vehicular homicide by recklessness and 5 counts of aggravated assault by vehicle by recklessness. The crash happened Wednesday morning on US 19 East near Simmerly Creek Road in Carter County, Tennessee. Investigators say Benfield failed to see the cyclists ahead of him and struck a group of about 10 riders. Milligan identified the 2 students killed as sophomores Halen Engdahl and Braden Rogers. 5 others suffered serious or critical injuries. An affidavit says investigators found no evidence that Benfield braked or took evasive action before the crash. Officers also reported smelling marijuana from his vehicle, but the affidavit does not say he was impaired or that marijuana was found. A judge set Benfield's bond at $300,000 during a Thursday hearing. He later posted that bond and was released. Benfield is prohibited from driving and required to undergo regular drug testing. He was also ordered to hire an attorney by August 31st. A Catawba County man will spend multiple years behind bars after being convicted of weapon burglary and domestic violence counts. Ariana Mack has that story.
A prison sentence was imposed in a Catawba County shooting case. A Newton man will spend 6 to 9 years in prison following his conviction for discharging a weapon into an occupied dwelling, first-degree burglary, and a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence. The sentence was imposed for 49-year-old Teron Lamont Clark by Superior Court Judge Karen Edie Williams of Mecklenburg County after he entered a guilty plea during Catawba County Superior Court on Wednesday. On September 30th, 2025, officers from Hickory Police Department responded to a report of a shooting at an apartment complex. The incident stemmed from a domestic dispute between the defendant and one of the 2 female victims. She told investigators that she had kicked Clark out of the apartment following their breakup, but he returned and assaulted her. Clark produced a firearm and fired multiple rounds into the floor of the 3rd floor apartment that traveled into a 2nd floor apartment occupied by a mother and 3 juvenile children. The second victim was checking on the female when she observed Clark leave the apartment with a firearm. She told investigators that he fired multiple rounds into the ground of the breezeway of the complex. Evidence collected at the scene corroborated statements by the victims. Clark confessed to his actions when he was arrested and interviewed by HPD investigators. Reporting for WHKY, I'm Ariana Mack.
Thanks, Ariana. A Conover man will spend 6 to 9 years in prison after pleading guilty to multiple felony charges and admitting habitual felon status. 38-year-old Johnny Leroy Lale entered guilty pleas Wednesday in Catawba County Superior Court. His convictions include felony larceny, possession of a stolen vehicle, fentanyl and drug paraphernalia, possession of a firearm by a felon, and failure to register as a sex offender. Lale's habitual felon status enhanced his sentence based on 3 prior felony convictions in Catawba County. Authorities say Lael was found with a stolen vehicle in 2024, fentanyl and drug paraphernalia in 2025, and a Taurus 380 handgun in September of 2025. He was also charged with failing to register as a sex offender earlier this year. 2 local men are back behind bars, one accused of violating probation in 2 separate cases, and the other charged with violating house arrest. WHKY's David Cedrone has the details.
Thank you, Rob Eastwood. Well, 27-year-old Luke Aaron Parsons of Taylorsville. He was booked Friday by the Alexander County Sheriff's Office on 2 alleged felony probation violations. Detention records show that violations are connected to 2 separate court cases. Parsons was given a $10,000 bond in each case, total of a $20,000 bond. He is scheduled to appear in Alexander County Court on September 14th. And meanwhile, 24-year-old Kalik Raheem Davidson of Drag Strip Road in Hudson, he was arrested Tuesday by Caldwell County Sheriff's Office. Davidson is charged with felony violation of house arrest order. He was given a $20,000 secure bond. No court date has been listed. I'm David Cedrone for WHKY News.
Thanks, David. A 40-year-old woman listed as homeless is facing multiple charges following her arrest Thursday by Hickory police. According to arrest records, Brittany Faith Taylor was charged with felony counts of possession of fentanyl and possession of methamphetamine. Taylor is also charged with possession of drug paraphernalia and possession of an open container of alcohol in a passenger area. She was placed in the Catawba County Detention Facility without bond and is scheduled to appear in district court Monday. 25-year-old Jason Allen Story of Diamond Lane in Vale is facing multiple charges stemming from a case handled by the Maiden Police Department. Story is listed as facing a charge of possession of methamphetamine. Additional charges listed against Story include possession of drug paraphernalia, driving while license revoked, not impaired, expired registration card or tag, and possession of an open container of alcohol in a passenger area. Story was jailed in the Catawba County Detention Facility under $8,000 bond. District court dates are scheduled for August 24th and 31st in Newton. A Denver, North Carolina man faces felony charges. 51-year-old David Lee Edwards was arrested by Catawba County Sheriff's officers. He's charged with felony larceny, injury to personal property, and felony probation violation. Edwards is on probation as a result of a conviction in Catawba County in May of 2026 for felony sex offender on child premises, felony possession of Schedule II controlled substance, and misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia. He was sentenced to probation and a suspended sentence of 18 months. Edwards is listed on the North Carolina Sex Offender and Public Protection Registry as a result of a conviction in Catawba County in 2006 for sexual offense with certain victims. Following the Friday arrest, he was jailed in the Catawba County Detention Facility under $60,000 bond. A Monday district court date was scheduled. A Superior Court appearance is slated for October 8th. This has been our weekly review of some of the crime stories we had for you during the week of August 17th through August 21st. The weekly summary is posted every Saturday on the WHKY YouTube channel, along with our top stories, the crime report, local sports, and community focus. Remember, you can watch the news every weekday at 5:30 and 10 o'clock on channel 14.2 over the air in selected cable systems, including Compass in Morganton, and live at 5:30 on the WHKY YouTube channel and 10 p.m. on our Facebook page. I am Rob Eastwood, and thank you for watching the WHKY News.